I'm like trying to circumvent gas prices as much as I can. Yeah, it's crazy. It's super crazy. I don't know how people are affording it right now.
The pain at the pump is back, with gas soaring past $6 a gallon in some places here in the West. Those prices have been inching up slowly for weeks now, but shot up in recent days. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Experts say there are many factors that go into the cost of a gallon of gas: crude oil prices, local and state taxes, and depending on your region, whether stations are using a summer or winter blend of fuel. Figures from AAA show fuel prices trending way up in several West Coast cities. Average prices in Phoenix, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and Los Angeles have increased anywhere between 40 cents and 72 cents over the past month, with gas in the LA area hitting the $6 mark. Still, there is hope we could soon see some relief at the pump. Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards starts us off tonight from Los Angeles.
It is painful if you're like me and have been putting off filling up your tank for the last few days. It is going to hurt when you get to the pump today. Look at this. In West LA, $6.39 for a gallon of regular. As much as it hurts, drivers of gas-powered cars in Southern California are going to have to fill up eventually.
It's like I was resisting filling the gas today. I was thinking about going to Central Valley, when I visit my in-laws this weekend. I'm trying to circumvent gas prices as much as I can. Yeah, it's crazy. It's super crazy. I don't know how people are affording it right now. It hurts.
Here in the Southland, this is the first time the average price of a gallon of regular has topped $6 since last October. The prices have been steadily creeping up and up. In LA County, the average price has risen 53 times in 58 days. Orange County has seen similar increases. There are a few reasons for the spike: rising crude oil prices, supply cuts, refinery issues here in Southern California, and the summer blend fuel. But experts are hopeful that we'll get a break soon.
We're hoping that we're going to see some relief in the near future. It's all going to depend, of course, on crude oil prices and how high they go. But the one positive that we do anticipate is that's when the winter blend fuel will enter the marketplace.
That should lower the price by 15 to 20 cents a gallon because the winter blend is cheaper to produce. By the way, we pay more here in California. The national average is at $3.88. So we could be seeing some relief by the end of the month, but until then, just be prepared for your wallet to take a hit when you go to fill up. Reporting from West LA, I'm Chelsea Edwards, Fox 11 News.
In Arizona, the price of gas depends on where you live. Prices are higher in Phoenix because that region gets its gas primarily from California, which has not switched yet to that cheaper winter blend. In Tucson, they're already seeing lower prices because they get their gas from Texas and New Mexico, which has already switched to the less expensive formula.
A lot of our gas comes from California. They're not making that switch until November. So it'll take quite a bit of time until we feel some parts of Arizona feel the effect. Texas and New Mexico will be making that switch earlier.
AAA says the winter blend tends to be cheaper because it contains more butane, which helps gas ignite in lower temperatures, but it also makes it slightly less energy efficient. In Washington, the FBI is asking for the public's help tonight in finding two women who were last seen more than 4 decades ago. Elsie Eldora Lucer was just 13 years old when she disappeared from the Quinault Nation Indian Reservation west of Seattle. She was with her 12-year-old cousin, Carlotta Maria Sanchez, when both girls vanished. They went missing in 1979, but the FBI says new information has prompted them to open a criminal investigation.
They may think that this case is so old or so distant that it's not able to be solved, and we've proved that time and time again that these cases are solvable.
While the FBI can't reveal the specifics as to the history of the case, they are hoping anyone with information about what happened to those girls will come forward. Authorities in Los Angeles say the deaths of 2 models earlier this month are likely not connected. 32-year-old Nicole Coates was found dead last week. 2 days later, 31-year-old Melissa Mooney was also found dead. Both of those victims were found in their apartments in the same neighborhood. Mooney's death is being investigated as a homicide. Coates' death is still under investigation. So far, no arrests have been made in either of those cases. Tonight, police in Washington are searching for an Amazon warehouse worker who they say attacked a co-worker with a box cutter. This happened this morning in the community of Tukwila, south of Seattle. Police say the two workers got into an argument and the suspect cut the other worker in the face. The suspect was gone by the time officers arrived there. The injured worker was treated at the scene and is expected to be okay. In Washington, authorities say a toddler died of a fentanyl overdose and her father has been arrested in connection with her death. It was just one of several fentanyl overdoses in recent days involving children. Fox 13 reporter AJ Janaval has more tonight from Tacoma.
Investigators tell me a 12-year-old boy had to be saved at a Bethel School District middle school from what investigators are calling a fentanyl overdose. Officials say the worst thing about all of these incidents is how easy they are to prevent. Saturday morning around 4:30, a 33-year-old Spanaway man calls 911 reporting his 2-year-old is dead. The reports say the father fell asleep and woke up to his baby not breathing. The medical examiner determined the baby had a large amount of fentanyl in her system. Now the dad faces a charge for first-degree manslaughter. Less than 30 hours after that incident, Sunday morning, just before 8, sheriff's deputies respond to a Puyallup home for a possible infant overdose. The 6-month-old girl put tinfoil in her mouth. Investigators believe the foil was used to smoke fentanyl. Further examination determines that a 3-year-old boy in the house also tested positive for fentanyl. The father, Mitchell Anders, is now charged with reckless endangerment.
We've had enough, and the public needs to know about this stuff. We don't like to talk about, children dying, but this is what we're seeing in our county.
Sergeant Darren Moss with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department tells me the dangers of this deadly drug are seeping into classrooms as well.
The nurse had to do CPR. That's not normal. Kids should not be overdosing in schools.
On Monday, deputies responded to Cougar Mountain Middle School in the Bethel School District. Investigators say a 12-year-old boy overdosed on fentanyl-laced Xanax around 8 in the morning. A student reported him unconscious, and a nurse found the child had no pulse. The nurse administered naloxone, and the boy regained consciousness as medics arrived.
If you think you're using heroin, you're wrong. It's cut with fentanyl. If you think you're using methamphetamine, you're wrong. It's cut with fentanyl. It happens every day. It happens all over the country. It's happening right here in Pierce County, and we all need to do something about it.
I spoke with officials in the Bethel School District who asked all of their families to talk to their kids about the dangers of drugs. Now, when it comes to that tragedy involving the death of that child, the suspect in that case is facing manslaughter charges. They have not officially been charged yet. We will keep you up to date as more develops. Reporting here in Tacoma, I'm AJ Janavel for Fox 13 News.
While some West Coast cities are ending COVID rental protections, the city of Los Angeles is launching a new emergency renters assistance program. This is for renters at risk of homelessness due to COVID or other hardships. To be eligible, recipients must have at least one person in the household who lost a job or income between March of 2020 and today. The household must also be considered low income. That program expires on October 2nd. In Arizona, the Scottsdale City Council is meeting tonight to vote on whether to accept a state grant for a temporary housing program. The city has been renting 10 rooms at a hotel for the past year for senior citizens and families with children. The city says the state funds will keep the program going and says 70% of participants secure housing within 30 to 90 days. But at least one Republican state representative, Matt Gress, is criticizing the program, saying hotel guests should not unknowingly be housed next to homeless people. In California, Sacramento County's district attorney is now suing the city of Sacramento over its failure to clear homeless encampments. DA Tien Ho announced the suit today, saying Sacramento is seeing a collapse into chaos. Ho says he's asking city leaders to enforce laws related to obstructing sidewalks and create more professionally operated campsites. The prosecutor had threatened in August to file charges against city officials if they didn't implement changes within 30 days. Mayor Darrell Steinberg has accused the DA of politicizing the issue. He said the city wants to work together with regional leaders to deal with homelessness. In Southern California, striking Hollywood writers and studios are scheduled to return to the bargaining table tomorrow. The WGA confirmed it will resume talks with studio heads on Wednesday, the first meeting between the two sides in nearly a month. Experts say it could be a turning point in this strike, now in its 5th month. It's also just 2 weeks away from becoming the longest WGA strike in history. Still ahead tonight on West Coast Wrap, First Lady Jill Biden is set to visit the West Coast this week, where she's headed and the events on her schedule. Plus, sky watchers got quite a light show last night, the rare appearance from the northern lights here out west.
And in Bay Area weather and also across the west, we have low clouds and fog, a bit of some haze moving into San Francisco Bay, but even some showers approaching the Pacific Northwest, and we'll have more on your forecast coming up.
In California, the governor is deciding whether to sign a bill that would decriminalize the use of psychedelic drugs. It would allow possession and use of several psychedelic substances, including the ingredients in hallucinogenic mushrooms. This bill has the support of many mental health experts who say the drugs can help treat depression and anxiety, among other issues. However, critics say the legislation will lead to more people driving under the influence and other public safety problems. Governor Gavin Newsom has until October 14th to either sign or veto that bill. Currently, there are just a handful of states and cities that have decriminalized psychedelic drugs. Reporter Marianne Rafferty looks at how it's working in Oregon.
With the nation facing higher rates of mental health problems, advocates of magic mushrooms hope the fungi can be a possible remedy, citing how the mushroom's psychedelic effects can alter a person's thinking, helping them develop new coping strategies and overcome trauma.
I met several people that had experienced healing.
After being treated with 2 doses of magic mushrooms and given psychotherapy, adults who misused alcohol had an 83% decrease in their drinking, according to a study published in the journal JAMA Psychiatry. Some researchers say the mushrooms can also provide relief for PTSD and severe depression.
This kind of journey is not for the faint of heart.
Kathy Jonas owns the Epic Healing Center in Oregon, the first state to legalize adult use of magic mushrooms. She already has a waiting list of more than 3,000 people looking for treatment.
This is very much about supported use for adults 21 years of age or older, and that support comes from licensed facilitators who don't handle or sell the psilocybin products, but instead instead provide preparation, administration, and integration sessions to clients.
But while the Oregon Psychiatric Physicians Association calls the mushrooms unsafe, supporters hope the practice will gain wider acceptance as a new method of treating mental health issues. The FDA recently issued recommendations for researchers designing clinical studies around psychedelic drugs and mental disorders. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
First Lady Jill Biden is expected to visit Seattle this week for an event promoting cancer research. The First Lady will also headline 2 high-priced political fundraisers. She's due to land at King County Regional Airport on Thursday night before heading to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center on Friday. After she leaves Seattle, the White House says the First Lady plans to travel to Los Angeles and San Diego. Disinfectant wipes and bleach could be harder to find following a recent cyber attack at Clorox, based in the San Francisco Bay Area. The company says the large-scale disruption to their information technology systems is now under control after the hack last month. Products had to be manually ordered and processed, but Clorox says operations should be back to normal by next week. Clorox says it expects finances to dip this quarter, but it is still too early, they say, to evaluate the long-term effects of this cyber attack. Wildfires in Northern California and Southern Oregon are creating poor air quality for parts of the San Francisco Bay Area. Air quality advisories are in effect right now for the region. The National Weather Service posted this graphic showing how the smoke is drifting. Forecasters do expect it will continue to affect Northern and Southern California over the coming days. FEMA is poised to send millions of dollars in federal money to a number of communities across the West. Those funds are going to be used to mitigate the impact of future natural disasters. KTVU's Jesse Gary is in San Jose, California, with more on how that city plans to use the money.
The winter of 2017, producing historic rainfall and unforgettable images. Flooding along the Coyote Creek put parts of San Jose under feet of water.
California is prone to floods, fires, earthquakes. We can predict that we will be afflicted with these kinds of natural disasters again.
This month, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, labeling 2 areas in San Jose community disaster resilience zones. There are 7 such zones in the Bay Area, 51 in California, and over 500 nationally.
And what they've done is they've taken a look at risk factors, 18 of them. Which areas have been affected by previous disasters? What's the socioeconomic population within those areas? And how do we mitigate it?
FEMA is distributing upwards of $3 billion to the zones so that locals can do mitigation work and lower the risk and impact of natural disasters, such as heat waves, floods, fires, and earthquakes.
I'm thrilled that San Jose was chosen and that the federal government is being proactive, trying to get upstream of natural disasters.
Experts say climate change is one factor that's turning rare events into more common calamities.
One of the things we've seen worldwide this summer is a lot of flooding rains that are being made worse by climate change. There's an increase in extreme weather worldwide. So what used to be a regular rain event now becomes a heavier rain event.
Officials say completed mitigation projects in other parts of the Bay Area have produced dividends. San Jose officials hopeful the infusion of federal cash will help them stay one step ahead of the unpredictable wrath of Mother Nature.
Let's use that money to do something about that.
So we need to figure out how much money we have and then design a site-specific plan to think about how to best use those dollars to make those neighborhoods more resilient to floods, wildfire risk, and other natural disasters.
Mayor Mahan says the building of levees, vegetation management, and the planting of fire-resistant vegetation are all things that are on the table. But first, the city must learn how much money they will get from FEMA, and that could take a few more months. In the South Bay Bureau, Jesse Gary, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, take a look at these shots. The northern lights were visible in Washington last night. These photos were taken right along the border with Idaho, just south of Spokane. The light show was also seen in Montana, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Forecasters say it's possible they could be visible once again tonight as far south as Oregon and Colorado. A shift in the weather pattern is coming for us this week, and meteorologist Mark Tamayo tracking the forecast across the West Coast. Mark?
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, amazing images. And of course, they had relatively clear skies up to our north, up in the Pacific Northwest yesterday. And here's the forecast for tonight. As you can see, really focused up in the northern tier of the country. All those brighter colors do indicate a better probability of the viewing for tonight. With the forecast. We are tracking some clouds, though. In fact, this was the scene today up in Seattle. Temperature of 67 degrees. Clouds have been increasing over the past few hours. And in Phoenix, as you can see here, lots of sunshine. Temperatures not extremely hot, but still in the triple digits. 102 degrees for a high today. And then in the San Francisco Bay Area, lots of, this is not fog, this is some haze due to wildfire smoke. Oakland topped out right around 70 degrees. And that smoke will continue to be a big factor in Northern California for tonight and into your Wednesday, as the wildfire smoke up in Northern California drifting to the south, approaching the Bay Area, maybe Sacramento and closer to Los Angeles. So as a result, an air quality advisory is in place for Tuesday and into Wednesday for the entire Bay Area, and there's a chance that could be extended into Thursday as well. So here's kind of the breakdown, the overall weather story. We are tracking a weak front up in the Pacific Northwest that could generate some rainfall first thing tomorrow morning. Some overnight showers out toward Denver, Salt Lake City possibly, and then out to in Southern California. We have this area of low pressure that'll keep those temperatures on the cool to mild side. And of course, we talked about the smoke drifting into Northern California. Here's a satellite right now, and once again, we have this weakening frontal band, but still this producing enough cloud cover and some rain showers up in the Seattle area for tonight that will continue into tomorrow morning. Current numbers out there right now, it is 74 in Medford in southern Oregon. Reno checking in 77, Los Angeles 70 degrees, and close to 90, or right around 90 for Los Angeles and in Palm Springs. Here's the forecast model showing you that system moving on board up in the Pacific Northwest, and some lingering rain showers possibly right around Salt Lake City, but out toward Eureka, out toward San Francisco, out toward Los Angeles. We'll have the cloud cover in the morning, becoming partly cloudy into the afternoon hours. The temperatures, as you can see, the span here from the 60s in San Francisco to 96 in Phoenix. Lots of 60s with that cool down up in the Pacific Northwest. In Albuquerque, 80 degrees. And forecast over the next 3 days, there's that one rain cloud up in the Seattle area. Lots of sunshine for Denver. Temperatures approaching the lower 80s. Los Angeles, temperatures in the upper 60s to the lower 70s. Not extremely hot, but still mid to upper 90s out toward Phoenix. A little bit of a cool down in the short-term forecast. We'll keep an eye on the Bay Area smoke and also the showers up to the north. Alex.
Yeah, a lot of issues to keep track of. Mark, thank you. The governor of Hawaii has set a reopening date for West Maui for next month following the deadly wildfire there. Coming up tonight, why some residents say it's still too early. Also, actor Jason Momoa is the latest celebrity to launch his own booze brand, where he debuted his new venture. Coming up. In Hawaii, people living on Maui are conflicted about whether the state should be reopening the part of the island that was devastated by those deadly wildfires last month. Governor Josh Green has announced West Maui is scheduled to open back up to tourists on October 8th. The decision has caused some backlash from residents who say many people are still struggling to access clean water and find places to stay after being displaced. A petition circulating to delay reopening has received more than 3,000 signatures in less than 24 hours.
I think half are ready to go back to work and get back to some normalcy. But then we had a very overwhelming response with the petition that maybe people aren't, And right now we have a little more than 3,000 signatures on our petition that these people are not ready to open back up on October 8th.
The burn zone in Lahaina itself will not be reopened. Hawaii's governor says the decision to reopen West Maui was not taken lightly, saying it's vital to the economic recovery of the island. The University of Hawaii announced today it will give full ride scholarships to all of the seniors at Lahaina Luna High School. That school was damaged in the Maui wildfire. The scholarship is for 1 year and will cover tuition, fees, books and supplies for any of the university's 10 campuses. The university says it's seeking funding to extend these scholarships for a full 2 or 4 years of college, depending on the campus the student attends. New technology has solved a mystery. Just how old is a certain fish living in a San Francisco aquarium? Scientists say the Australian lungfish was brought to the museum in 1938. It was named Methuselah after the longest living biblical figure. Now a new technique has used DNA from Methuselah's fin to pin down just how old the fish is, and it's 92 years old. Actor Jason Momoa is the latest celebrity to get into the alcohol business. Momoa and clothing entrepreneur Blaine Holverson greeted fans this week at a San Diego Total Wine store. The pair are promoting their new vodka brand called Maui.